And welcome back to part 8 of What If Goku and Radditz had went to Earth together. So last time in Dragon Ball Z What If, we had basically Bardock, Radditz, and Goku, particularly those three. Don't worry, Gohan's getting attention. He's actually training in this version, but he's nowhere near ready enough. He's also only 4, so they're not stupid enough to put him in a fight against Frieza. They were in training waiting for Frieza, and Lord Frieza's been coming to Earth, ready to take on the Saiyans. Now, one question that got addressed, and I did already answer it in the comments, but I feel it's actually important to answer questions that are important to answer when they get brought up. At least I feel they're important to get brought up. That's not to say everyone's questions aren't deserving of, being, talked about. It's just some I feel are more prudent to answer in the video than just writing out in a response. Is that because of the time frame, shouldn't Trunks have shown up by now? Shouldn't the androids have shown up by now? Shouldn't all of that had actually happened by now? Because we actually had a lot longer of a time period of peace. And my answer to that was actually no, because there's actually, because of the big alteration of Radditz and Bardock being there, A, that's more data and information that needs to be collected. But B, and more importantly, because they spend so much time training and there's so many instances where they get large increases that Jiro would have to calculate for that, I feel like we can at least give a certain amount of leeway in terms of time. Like when Trunks shows up, and yeah, he's going to show up in this part, not necessarily in the fight with Frieza, but at this part, because the fight with Frieza is not going to take that long. Spoilers. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But as you can, if you remember where I put our gallant heroes in the last video, which I believe I had Goku at 25 million, Bardock at 20 million, Radditz was about 18 million. If I remember that correctly, I might be off a couple million. I know Goku is the strongest among them. And knowing that they all have their tails and can use their Ozaru forms without going crazy, yeah, you can tell this is probably not going to go very well. But no, I don't see Trunks showing up during the fight or prior to the fight. With that being said, so they're waiting basically on Earth. Kami is basically saying he's here, he's approaching, and Barney's like, all right, we got to make sure to let him know where we are. Crank your power levels down only to a certain amount, maybe only about 1/10 of what they actually are. That way we'll draw him in, but he won't just try to nuke the planet from orbit. Even though they could stop that, they're still like, yeah, that's going to be irritating. We need to draw him in. And so, they all crank their power levels down to about 1/10 of what their actual power level is, roughly speaking. Maybe Goku even cranks it down to like 500,000 or something like that. Cranks it down to maybe base form Frieza. Don't get me wrong. The real version of Frieza is that final form you see. The 4th transformation. But obviously, he's got lesser forms that he uses for power suppression. Or at least he did until, he learned to master his real form. Anywho, so, they see the power levels on, down on the ground. You're all hovering around the 1 million area, maybe 500,000 area. And, one of the, grunts is like, Lord Frieza, we've detected the Saiyans, but there's something you should know, my lord. It's like, what could it be? What is it? I'm just going to think of a random name. We already got sorbet, so, Italiano ice, because we got sorbet, so how about Italian ice? I love Italian ices, by the way. I haven't had one in a long time. That's something I can go for, an Italian ice. Lemon Italian ice. Ooh, that's so good. It's like, you're just thinking, it's basically a snow cone. It is not. I dare say it is the most amazing thing. It's not that great, but I do like a good Italian ice. So the power level readings we have here, they're numbering somewhere hovering between 500,000 to a little over 1 million, sir. Really? No wonder they were impressive indeed. No wonder they were able to give Vegeta and Nappa a thorough beating. Still, thank you for giving me the update. Now, it makes sense they would be able to sense the power levels with the ship's equipment, because we know Frieza knew what his power level was in his secondary form. He said last time he checked, his power was over 1 million in that form. And that means this, because the scouter, I've already explained, but the scouters aren't able to pick up power levels that high without breaking, or in the newer models, as we see in Super, just kind of Xing out. They can't calculate that high for some reason. But yeah, obviously the ship system does. So Frieza's like, very well then, if they wish to play. And, he powers up, and Vegeta and Nappa's just like, and, they see him powering up, second form, third form, and it's like, maybe you know what? And he goes into his fourth form because he realizes, like, as much as my third form would probably be sufficient, they're most likely suppressing their power as they did against you, Vegeta. No, I'm going to have to go in a bit more abled. 10% of my power should suffice it. And he powers up. He doesn't have to power up too much, but he has to power up a little bit. So he comes in at about 12 million. So they all arrive on the planet, locating where the Saiyans are. The Z Fighters also show up as well. I imagine they at least show up because they can sense the energy coming. I mean, what has been going on with those guys anyway? That's a fair question. I think we should ask. They've probably all been living their lives. Absolutely, they have been. But because there's been such a long period of peace, you're probably looking at a scenario where Krillin, even though Krillin hasn't met Marin or anyone like that, I don't know if Krillin would be completely dedicated to the martial arts like he originally was. He probably isn't getting any weaker, mind you, but he's probably also, honestly, he probably would be doing something to make money. Be a cop like he actually is, something along those lines. But he isn't slouching like he did in the 7-year time skip. Tien's always training. Yamcha is still with Bulma because he's still alive. If anything, they are actually probably doing very well because of that. Because I think one of the issues Yamcha and Bulma had was the fact that Yamcha died. And, it turns out even though they could communicate, he never communicated, like DBZ Abridged kind of pointed out. But they still show up. Kami, gives them, or at least they try to show up, but Kami says, no, this is a fight. You haven't been training. Your power is just on. Basically, unfortunately, in this series, the Z Fighters, except for the Saiyans, kind of fall to the wayside a little bit. It's just the gap between all the other Z Fighters and the Saiyans is just too great to overcome at this point. And they're not even like at their Namek Saga, Android Saga level of power. They're not. They're probably lucky to be pushing their Saiyan level Saga power, to be honest, because without the extreme training that they were getting at the Lookout, in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, or the other one, again, I can't remember what the other one was, where they got sent into that other place, fought the past Saiyans. They just haven't had the extremes enough to be getting the big boost of power they did in the original one. Nor the motivation, mind you, too, because there was also training for an incoming battle. Without that, because of the years of peace, the training, while never ceasing, has to some degree been a bit, it's been lax. It's been very easygoing training. Standard training to try to improve yourself, not to try to beat an opponent. So basically, Kami actually gets in touch and say, "No, stay back. This is not a fight. Not a fight. We can be a part of." So obviously the Saiyans and Vegeta, Nappa, Zarbon, Dodoria, Saiyan for Frieza Force, Frieza, they all arrive out of the ship. It's like, so this is Earth. What a desolate area indeed. That's indeed. Tell me, is this where you fought? There was a place like this, Lord Frieza. As Vegeta now has his cybernetic arm in place. And to be fair, those cybernetics are pretty durable. I mean, we can assume that Frieza's cybernetics were durable enough to handle a lot of physical power. So we can assume that Vegeta's... First off, I can also assume that Vegeta's probably looks a bit nicer, because it was pretty obvious that Frieza's was a hodgepodge kind of deal. Like, they didn't have a huge amount on call, or they really had to... cut some corners in design. Well, Vegeta, he's just got a cybernetic arm. I'm sure his probably just looks relatively fine. I mean, it doesn't look like a hand. Like, you can tell it's a robotic hand, but it still looks fairly decent. He's got those weird muscle-looking things on there. So, yeah, those weird line orange. I don't know what those were. They mirror, honestly, the shoulder guards in terms of the design. So, Frieza comes out, there he is, the man of the hour, Radditz. Radditz, you old dog, I thought you had died years ago, but it's true, you and your brother survived, and could it be? Why, Bardock, look at you! Alive and kicking! Alive and kicking. Imagine that. Tell me, how have you been? How's your family? How did you manage to come back from the dead? Wouldn't you like to know, you fascist dictator? Oh, careful now. I'm being quite polite, asking you how that. I'm simply asking a question and being quite polite as it is too. You wouldn't want me to lose my temper. But that's neither here. Though then again, perhaps you're waiting for it, anxious for it. After all, battle is your saying blood's bread and butter, is it not? You'll pay for what you did. You destroyed our planet, our home, our people. So, that perhaps I did, but there's little you can do about it. Now, I will only ask one other time. How did you come back to life? It's almost like magic. I told you, wouldn't you like to know? There's no way you're getting that information out of us. Well, Frieza actually pretty much knows and say, oh, very well then. I suppose I won't be getting anything out of you the easy way. So then, why don't we just skip to the battle? But I'll ask one last question. Have you ever heard of something called Dragon Balls? To which Goku, or Kakarot in this case, and Radditz actually, they're asking, he knows about Dragon Balls, whereas Bardock's more like Grim's like, he knows about Dragon Balls. It's like, so they are here on this planet after all. Oh, joy. Perhaps I shall send some of my men out to search for them as soon as I'm done with you. Which Bardock's like, all right, boys, no more hiding, holding back. Right. And then, they go full power, to which Vegeta, we know, was able to sense energy after his fight. So we now know Vegeta's probably able to sense the amount of power they have. Realize they're eclipsing Frieza's power. Kakarot's more than twice as strong. Bardock, even Radditz. Perhaps they can do it. Perhaps they can kill him after all. Nappa too, I imagine, could sense energy because he got a pretty firm beating as well. By the way, Zarbon and Dodoria, the scout, just shattered right on him, right at the moment. Well, that's irritating. Vegeta, go! What are you waiting for? Go in there and fight. It's like, yeah, no. You really think I get enough power to take them on? I don't even have my tail anymore. There's no way I could take them on. And that's not the point, Vegeta. We gave you an order. Let us be clear about one thing, Zarbon. There's only one of you strong enough to give me orders, and that's Frieza himself. Like, is that right? And Vegeta's just, pointing, unless you want to test me. Now, as entertaining as it would be for me to just kill you, watch you all kill each other, good help is hard to find. And Zarbon, as much as it pains me to say, on your part, Vegeta is right. After that little excursion, he gained quite a little bit of a boost. Nothing to threaten me, of course, but enough that neither of you could actually take him on. Even Nappa would give Dodoria there a good run for his money, from what the scanners said when in the healing pod. But that's neither here nor there. Now then, let's get down to business, shall we? And the fight goes down now. But it's Bardock. Now, Goku and Raditz do hang back because they want their father to get a little bit of payback in because Frieza's the one that killed him. And immediately, Bardock is just pressing him. So you have gotten stronger, Bardock. And, he's just getting whacked around. Like, yeah, it looks like you haven't improved much. Frieza, how dare you? And just brings up Death Ball. Perhaps I'll just destroy you and this planet. What about the Dragon Balls? No, that's true. I would destroy the planet, but you're not going to let that happen, are you, Bardock? You're going to block it and prevent it. But I wonder, will you be able to block it all? And he fires the death ball, and Bardock's like, crap. It's kind of like the Cooler versus Goku fight, where Goku just kind of grabs the death ball. Freeze up! Just blast the death ball. Well, how about that? And then Frieza, obviously, or Bardock comes in, smacks him. So you think you're clever? I bet you're still holding back, though, aren't you? Me, I'm only using 10% of my power. Bardock. Allow me to show you what real power is. And he just powers up and like, we gotta stop him. He's like, stop him. But why? We can't let Frieza get any stronger. And look, I know we're Saiyans, and I know we enjoy battle, but sometimes we have to put our pride aside. Put our pride aside for the greater good. The greater good. And Vegeta's like, I knew you was a real Saiyan, says the guy who lost to me. He's like, what did you say? But unfortunately, they get up there and like, no, we can't let him. And then Frieza obviously now is at 50% of my maximum. That's all I require, Bardock. And he comes in and starts now wailing on all three of them. They're now just like fighting in tandem, but Frieza's just like, no. Because Goku at Kaioken times 10, which was around 30 million, because his power levels stayed to be 3 million at that point in the series. He couldn't touch 50% Frieza. Like, he could not do a damn thing. And even though Goku's only at 25 million, and they don't have Kaioken, unfortunately, to back him up, or Super Saiyan. So they're just, nope, nothing. Both of them are getting thrown out. I was like, well, this has been fun, but now it's time to end this. Red Bardock's struggling to get up. Everyone's struggling to get up. It's like, damn, not going the way we wanted it to. No, it doesn't look like it. Well, there's always the option. There's always the plan, the last resort. I always hate this. He's like, something, Vegeta. What is it, monkey? That's funny. I never really liked those 8 forms, but I can't deny. And all of a sudden, Frieza gets a false moon straight in his face. And he finally shakes off. He sees, but I got to admit, he grabs Frieza. They are useful. You bastard. How could he be this strong? It is a monkey. And he basically is just crushing Frieza. I'm trying to think of the disparity in power. It's not as bad as the disparity in power that Vegeta had against Goku, mind you. But in terms of the level of power, to be fair, actually, it's a much greater. In terms of level of power, it technically is actually a much greater disparity because we're talking about millions versus thousands. So actually, it is a much greater disparity by a huge margin. Frieza tries to power up. He's only able to get like the 75%, which would still be 90. He's able to kind of open his hand. I'll kill you. And he's like, not before I kill you. He's just got an orb of energy in his hand, just poof, smacks Frieza right there. Saiyan Bankai! Just blasts it, incinerates him into existence. And everyone's just looking on. Meanwhile, Goku and Kakarot and Radditz are just kind of standing there. It's like, all right, you want to go next? It's like, no. We learned from the last time. There's nothing we can do against you at this point in time, but we will be back. Mark our words. Let's go, Nappa. Right, Vegeta. And Bardock's just looking. I was like, look at him. Looking on. She's like, you're getting this one. Looking at Frieza's forces are on Dodoria. You can't be serious. You can't command us. We're just in, and Vegeta finally just boom, blasts his head off. Or actually, I could actually imagine it being Dodoria that actually says it. It's like, you can't command us. No, we're Frieza Force, not Vegeta, stupid monkey. And then just Vegeta blasts out. Boom. It's like, so Zarbon, are you looking for a job? Yes, Lord Vegeta. And Vegeta just kind of gets a smile on his face. Like, oh, I enjoy that sound. Let's go. Basically, all the troops just kind of hightail out of there. So the day is saved for now. Unfortunately, as they're traveling, Zarbon sends out a message. It's like, sire, your son died today. And Frieza died? How? There were these Saiyans. From Earth, they grew so strong and they overwhelmed your son and they killed him. Now Vegeta is commanding his ship. And they're about, Vegeta. Oh, the King's son. He took command of Lord Frieza's ship and empire. Well, I'll have to have a discussion with him about that. But first, tell me one more time, where was this planet these Saiyans were on? So, King Cold is now interested in Earth. We'll be a little while before he shows up, because we don't know exactly where in the galaxy he was. But anyway, the day is saved. And, they get back to normal. However, about a week later, someone comes knocking around Capsule Corp. And, Bulma's just like, who are you? And standing before them is this guy in a black wife beater, purple Capsule Corp jacket, purple hair. Actually, his jacket was blue, I think. Was it blue? I think it was blue. All right, and a sword on his back. He's like, I'm looking for Goku. Is he around? No, he's not, doesn't usually hang out here very often. He's probably at home with his family. Oh, of course. Right. Thank you. And who are you, big guy? He's like, I'm just I'm an old friend of the family. Oh, you're saying too? Oh, didn't know there were any more of you around. But you're wearing one of our jackets. Yeah, I actually bought it from somewhere. And I can imagine they actually probably do have, because Capsule Corp probably has a main headquarters, but they make things all over the world. They probably have they probably have many facilities. So it's like, yeah, I traded, someone gave it to me from one of your other stations. He said it just looked good on me, so I said I could have it. Huh, well, it does look good on you. All right, well, yeah, do you know where Goku is? Yeah, I believe I'm familiar with the area. Thanks. So he heads up like, wait, so Goku is alive. Where's Dad? And wasn't Frieza supposed to be here? Now, when we're talking about the Android saga coming up, there are going to probably be a few alterations, I think. Nothing big, but a few alterations. And Trunks basically eventually finds the house and says, hello, is anyone here? It's like, oh, hi, who are you? It's like, oh, my name's not important, but you're Goku, right? Yeah, that's right, and you are? It's like, and all of a sudden, Kakarot, who is this? It's like, wait, is that Radditz? There's like, this guy doesn't seem to want to give his name. Could we talk somewhere private? What is it, son? Who is this? And all of a sudden he sees Goku's breast. Wait, who are these? Well, this is my dad, Bardock, and my mom, Gine. Seriously, who are you? What do you want? Oh, crap baskets. Multiverse theory's a bitch. So, well, and he basically has to realize, like, oh, this isn't good. It's like, I'm sorry. Okay, look, bear with me what I'm about to say. My name is Trunks. It's like, all right, well, why was that so difficult? Because I'm from the future. Really, the future. To which Bardock, surprisingly, is like, okay, go on. This Bardock hasn't dealt with the whole, I can see in the future. He hasn't done with that bullcrap. But for some reason, it's something he can accept a bit more, probably because of the original one. And he explains the issue about the androids and everything along those lines and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, man, I don't even get a crack at him? That sucks. Well, I don't know about that, Goku. After all, this timeline doesn't seem to be the same as mine. How so? Because none of you are alive at that timeline. Something's gone drastically wrong. That doesn't mean the androids aren't going to show up, though. You should probably take this. And he does say Bulma's his mother, but because this is a different timeline, he's not sure if he is going to be. He's not sure if he's going to be born. He hopes he's going to be born. Spoilers: he'll be born, but not the way he thinks. So finally, I need to ask: can you guys turn Super Saiyan? It's like, what, Super Saiyan? And even Rad's like, Super Saiyan, that old myth. And Bardock even was like, what do you know about Super Saiyans, kid? That's an ancient legend, something that Saiyan race passed down from generation to generation. It's not like someone can just become Super Saiyan. Well, actually, you were the first one, Goku. The first Super Saiyan in over 1,000 years, and he's about to explain more about it. And it's like, well, so wait, can you turn Super Saiyan? It's like, no. I mean, I can turn into my 8th form, but that's about it. Oh man. So what? I mean, what is Super Saiyan like? And just then they all sense it. They sense an energy bigger than, far more massive than Frieza's coming towards the Earth. Goku, Kakarot. And I should note too, he keeps calling him Goku, but it's like, my name's Kakarot. Why do you keep calling me Goku? Oh, I guess that changed too, huh? Yeah, in my timeline you were called Goku. I'm guessing because you guys were never around and you hit your head or something as a kid. You know, the guy who adopted you named you Goku. Goku sounds like a pretty good name to me, actually. It's like, wait, you're Gohan? Yes. As Gohan steps out there, it's like, wait, you're still alive in this timeline too. Why wouldn't I be? Oh God, wait, I died? Oh dear. But they sense King Cold coming, and they head again to the wasteland, and again it's the Saiyans coming up, but this time they sense Cold, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know power wise because once we get past the Namek saga, actual power level numbers don't exist anymore. We don't have any legitimate power level readings. There's a couple that stand out. Like we have like Cooler's fourth form power level or something like that. It's like our fifth form power level, like 490 million or something like that. So there are power levels that exist, but for basic for actuality, we don't have any numbers. What we do know is that King Cold, even in his form, was stronger than his son. If Frieza, who was already stronger than his previous form as a cyborg. Or his cyber form was stronger than his previous form. But we know he's overall stronger than his son. Or at least near to his son in only his second form. So, that being said, it's possible their 8 forms could take on King Cold. And it's like, we're gonna have to go ape to take this guy on. No, don't worry about it. I'll handle this. It's like, so you're the Saiyans who took out my son. You must be King Cold, Frieza's father, is that right? Oh, my reputation precedes me. Yes, I am Lord Cold. I am King Cold, yes. And you are? Name's Trunks. I'm the guy who's going to be killing you today. Oh, is that right? Well, from what I'm told, you weren't among the Saiyans who killed my son. No, but I'm the Saiyan who's going to kill you now. Oh, my, that ego of yours, sure. It certainly needs to be put in check, but I'm more interested in the other 3 at the moment. And as Scours read power level 5, he quickly takes out the troopers as he did originally. It's like, very well then, you want a piece of me, boy? So be it. It's like, so now, Bardock, Radditz, Goku, Kakarot. Goku, Kakarot. He stuttered. Because I stuttered on that too, but I can mention he stutters too because he's used to that. Watch carefully. This is a Super Saiyan. And he powers it. Boom! And, his power level skyrocket, and they're all like, whoa! It's like, oh, I say, so this is a Super Saiyan. And, he's like, I think you're nothing, boy. I think you're all bluff. And, he goes in and Trunks makes quick work of him, then just takes out the entire ship. And then that word gets out that King Cold is dead. Vegeta and Nappa, who occasionally are getting some training in. With Dodoria dead, Nappa's kind of the second in command at this point. Well, Zarbon's technically second in command, but he's actually third because I'm sure Vegeta would have Nappa just a second command just to screw with him. Although he trusts Zarbon a bit more because he's just more intelligent. But that being said, there is still the issue of the Ginyus to deal with. And that being said, Vegeta's also more than willing to get some more training in. He and Nappa have probably been training off and on for a little while. Even though it's only been a week, they probably have gotten a bit stronger. I'd say right now, Vegeta's plus they're probably making use of Zenkai as well. I think Vegeta was actually focused on Nappa, getting him stronger, so that way, when Vegeta needs to take a rest, heal up in the chamber, their healing pods for Zenkai purposes, Nappa can keep Zarbon in check so he doesn't try anything, basically. So, after a while, they're making, basically, kind of like what happened with Namek, where they're kind of cheating with their Saiyan biology a little bit. I would imagine it's not a huge drastic change. I imagine like Vegeta is somewhere in the neighborhood of like maybe 80,000 at this point. You might think that's a lot over a week, but if you continually just pound into each other, beat the living crap, dramatically injure each other, you could probably get there. And Nap is probably pitching around to 60,000. Enough that they could probably take on most of the Ginyus, except for Captain Ginyu, which Vegeta's aware of this and is like, Ginyu's going to be a problem if he ever shows back up, but we'll be ready for him. And so, Zarbon's like, the Ginyus will be the only hope, but knowing them, they'd probably be able to take them out anyway. Or they'd find a way to kill them. For now, I better play it safe. Besides, honestly, Vegeta's not that bad of a ruler compared to Frieza, so maybe I'll play this by ear. And so, Trunks powers down that's Super Saiyan. Everyone's looking on, I was like, whoa. And it's like, but now I gotta tell you, it's like, in 2 years, the android, originally in 3 years, but knowing the date now, I don't know when the androids are going to... Trunks honestly doesn't know at this point when the androids are going to show up. That's the problem, is that he thinks, well, his arrival got pushed because the timeline's altered, and their androids arriving are going to be pushed because the timeline's altered. So, really, they got to try to get Super Saiyan down as quick as possible. So, up for a trip in the time chamber they're going to be taking soon. But that's where we're going to leave part 8 for now. It seemed a little clunky. I'll admit, I dilly-dallied a little bit in the beginning. I kind of dragged out some things that didn't need to be dragged out. I'll do my best to condense it a bit more come the next chapter. Until then, though, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This week is the week of What Ifs, so keep your eyes out for new What Ifs. Well, you'll still get the continuations of current What Ifs, but at least 2 new What Ifs, probably. Because I usually like to do 2 one-shots along with the concurrent ongoing ones. So thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that button if you want to be notified. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I just would win Star Wars, Superhero, Magic, What If, anything to do in the channel. Put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get that at some point. So thanks for watching. See you next time.